Happy Easter, everybody who celebrates it, and if you don't, then no offense meant, but if you take offense to me saying Happy Easter, then, well, frankly, I'm not going to apologize for that. At any rate, um, I've uh, I've come to the point where I guess I've just had to sort of face facts on some things. A lot of the research projects I wanted to do as my channel enders here and my involvement as far as being an active video maker in the most strictest of senses um, just isn't going to be able to get done. There's just too much material to cover in most cases, and I just am not going to have the kind of time for a lot of stuff like that. You know, I'm sure I could make the meme joke, ain't nobody got time for that. But anyways, um, I finished off any and all commentary I feel needs to be levied at or against Miss Anita Sarkeesian unless she surprises us all and pulls $160,000 worth of research production values and a increased scope. You know, the things she actually promised the money would go to out of her backside, then there's nothing more that needs to be said. Unless she wants to abandon her obstructionist ways, her distraction ways for the sake of, I'm not even sure. It would be far too easy to simply say that she's in this for the money, but I don't really believe that's the case. I do believe that she believes what she's saying. Only she, as my good friend Hugh James 1978 is famous for saying, amongst other things, that she's biased, but because she feels that she's the good guy, she feels that her bias is absolutely not just necessary, but correct. And it's not just her that I've had issues with, but the point is, at the end of the day, that's what it is, I think, unless I see evidence of otherwise. Maybe she could have realized early on that her biases could make her money and she might be using them for that purpose, but none of that really matters. She got her money. You're not going to get your money back. I've even seen some videos of some backers who were very disappointed with her work and don't feel that she was quite worth funding, although I would have said watch her videos from before Tropes versus Women in Gaming Part 1. You would have already understood where your money was going. And if you still funded her after that, well, then you're of her hive mind, as it were, and there was never going to be a way to dissuade you. Not to mention the lovely game journalist stake in all of this cluster screw that basically made it seem like if you're not funding this, or if you happen to disagree with Ms. Sarkeesian, a sentiment that's still being carried over, much to my disgust, then you're simply a misogynist and you need to grow up. And to which I just say, no, we're us dissenters with actual factual material that has nothing to do with her being a woman, nothing to do with her being a feminist, and nothing to do with her speaking up. Um, we're not misogynists, and it bothers me when that becomes the rallying cry. You know, it's not just Sarkeesian; it's the people who are willing to defend her works, which aren't really works if you really look at how skin deep the material is, which again, no, I'm sorry. There, that was not 100, not that Obviously, the entire series is $160 worth of material that we're supposedly going to be getting. But no, I mean, this was not enough of a fraction of that $160 to justify what we saw. But as I said, this is on many levels in social circles or in society as it is useless because nobody has a concrete idea of what they are talking about on both sides of this. So don't think I'm just sitting here beating up on the whole sexism ideals and that whole thing there. I could pull Webster's all I want, but some people like Anita or this new girl, Adria Richards, which she's got a video coming from me, but that's going to be a ways off. I've got things I have to take care of, not the least of which is my health issues. And so right now, I'm not really focused or don't have the time or ability to realistically be doing things here on YouTube as much as I would like to. But that's not to say I'm not going to speak for women's issues as well. Voctor recently did a video, and a link down to the mirror of that video is down in the underbar that was mirrored by my good friend James 1978. But again, I'm not to belittle the point of what happened to the girl in Voctor's story. That is absolutely something that needs to be addressed, but Donglegate, if nothing else, also shows that this does go both ways. Again, not to belittle the situation going on with Facebook and this whole thing that we have that's a double standard that actually tends to work more against women than for them. And this is really part of a bigger conversation. It's not just the female body, it's the sexualization of said female body at inappropriate times. And I know this sounds like a contradiction of stuff I've said before. It's not. When you're wanting to call women breastfeeding in public obscene simply because their breast is exposed and a mouth is on it, and your response, as the response of one of the mall owners who kicked women out for breastfeeding in public was, well, I hope you don't mind if I lick my wife's breast in public. It's not the same thing, you misogynistic dick. See, I'm not part of this boys club. I'm not going to not call something misogynistic when it absolutely is misogynistic. I'm not going to call something, exceptionalism when it's, or I'm not going to not call something exceptionalism when it's not. But the thing is, it has to go both ways. I'm not going to ignore the times that, like with Donglegate, where it's like, the message to take away is that men's anatomy is disgusting. Men's anatomy is gross and bad, and we should feel ashamed about it. And I know people have said that they were in a public space. In a public space, there's technically no such thing as a private conversation, and that's not really entirely untrue. But at the same time, that's like, well, if I'm having a sensitive phone call in public, that's almost like saying people have a right to listen to your private information being talked about on a cell phone because it's a public space. That's another, again, a whole nother argument, this thing having to deal with Donglegate and stuff of that nature there. The point is, it happens more to women than men. Let's be completely honest here. But the fact that both of these situations, the Voctor, Facebook situation that's going on there, that is absolutely ridiculous. We can't allow one and not the other. It's absolutely stupid, but I digress. But also what Donglegate is showing us, what Donglegate is illustrating, are the ways in which people want to create this dichotomy that that men's private areas as well should be considered bad, evil, and dirty. And don't even get me started on the various vagina gates going on. The one, what was it, last year with South, or was it North or South Carolina? I forget which, and their Senate censoring one of their own because she dared to be disrespectful and use an anatomically correct term like vagina to the teacher who's getting fired because he dared to say the word vagina during an anatomy class. And yes, I know there's a little bit more to that story, but again, that's another video that deserves its own due diligence, as does Donglegate, as does so many other things that are going on that are just messed up. But I'm spending a little bit of my holiday. Yes, I do celebrate, but not in the ways that the devout celebrate Easter. I go for it for the fun for my son, and he likes it, and he enjoys it, and it's a time for a feast and family togetherness. Oh, the horror. But I wanted to sort of give you guys an idea of what's going on with this channel right at this point. And in some videos to be made today as well, some good news on at least one home front there. Anyways, folks, I'm hoping you're having a good holiday. If not, my condolences. It may surprise people, but I actually do care, even if humanity breaks my heart on a near daily basis.